Oh yeah, baby.
So I reached out to my man a couple of weeks ago, and next thing I know, he's hanging out at Reach with Lecrae. He's on Track Stars. I said, man, he might be too busy for me now. I got DKG Kie on the
Yes.
podcast today. Welcome, man. How you doing?
Man, I'm good. Thank you for having me, man. That's an honor for real.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm excited for this. I've been following you. I heard about you last year from Zonti, and so I started following you around then. And just the way that you present yourself, the way that you carry yourself, the way that you're pushing the kingdom. Christians, especially young kids in this day and age, like they're looking for that Christian role model. And I see the things that you're doing. So first of all, I just want to say thank you for coming on. I'm super excited about this conversation today and hear what you have to say in terms of your music and testimony and all that stuff.
Most definitely. Let's get into it. I'm ready.
All right. So before we get into any of that stuff, any of the music, any of that, I do something on here called the Big Three.
Okay.
And so the Big Three is just a warm up. It's just 3 random, goofy questions.
Okay.
So hopefully they didn't ask you anything like this on Trackstar. So weirdest snack that you ate growing up as a kid?
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll say this. Sunflower seeds, but it wasn't like sunflower seeds ain't weird, but the way I used to eat them, I used to be so lazy, like eating those. I just ate the whole thing. Like I would just be popping
The
them
shell and everything.
on. Like I never threw the shells out, bro.
Man.
Yeah, like I just ate the whole thing all the time. So yeah, that's definitely the weirdest snack. Oh.
There was a bunch of dudes that I was with in high school. They would just suck the season. They would get the barbecue with ranch, and then they would just suck the season off and they just spit it out. They wouldn't even try to eat the seed or nothing. So,
Right.
All right. So, question number 2: favorite movie or TV show quote?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a really, really good one. Let me think.
There's so many.
It is. No, it really is.
Yeah. If you want to do 2, if you want to go 2 or 3 deep, you can do that.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm like I love movies, bro. Like I'm big on movies. So I would say I feel like the monologue that Bane gave Batman.
Oh yeah.
That whole monologue. I was born in the dark. Like
I was born in the darkness. Yeah.
Like that blue that. Yeah, I love that. I would say that one, and then it's kind of funny, but it's not because like I can kind of resonate with this. But Planet of the Apes is one of my favorite movies as well. Like I love the old renditions, but the newer renditions, I want to say it was Caesar. I forgot the orangutan. Maurice. He was talking to Maurice, and he said, no, Maurice said something to Caesar. He said it was so simple. It was so simple. He had 2 sticks. And, no, 1 stick, I'm sorry. And he said apes alone weak, broke the stick. And then he picked up like 3 sticks and he said apes together strong, and he couldn't break it. And for me, like I've resonated with that my whole life. Just always trying to be a person that unites everybody, even when it comes to rap, same thing. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm sure we're going to get to that, but yeah, that's those 2 top tier for sure.
Yeah. I love that too. And that's straight out of Ecclesiastes right there. 3 chord. I see that a lot of times in music and a lot of times in different movies and stuff like that. They unintentionally put things that are out of the gospel, out of the Bible. They're not trying to do it, but you just can't help it because, your soul, even if you're somebody that says that there is no God, like you can't help but point to the creator. You can't help it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's straight out of the Bible right there. I love that.
Oh, yeah.
So question number 3, the most interesting thing that you've heard or read recently, something that you've learned.
Something that I've learned, or like, okay, cool.
Or something you've heard. Yeah.
Okay. Matter of fact, shout out to Zonti. I know we're gonna talk about him later in the podcast, but shout out to Z. We were talking actually when we were in Atlanta, And he had put me hip to this book. Man, I can't think of the name of it right now. I gotta have him send it to me so I can buy it. But it's a book. I want to say C.S. Lewis was the author, but it was pretty much like the book is literally written from a demon's perspective.
Yeah, screw tape letters.
Yup. Oh my gosh, bro.
Yeah, that's a good book. Yeah, that's a good book.
Bro,
it changed the way I prayed. Changed the way I prayed, dude. For real.
Yeah, please, when we get off of this, like text that to me, please, because I want to get that book so bad. But yeah, when me and him were talking, and he was kind of giving me like a synopsis of what that book entailed. It was just like, yo, like I'm huge because I'm an intellectual at the end of the day. So I love figuring out the psychology behind certain things, why certain things happen. And I like hearing things from other people's perspective, or, you know what I'm saying? From a perspective, not necessarily the norm, you know what I'm saying? So no, yeah, that's crazy. I definitely got to get that book.
Wow. Because, a lot of times, like when you're praying, it's like, I think sometimes we kind of take it for granted. We don't even understand, like, we're actually talking to the creator of the universe. Like it says in Hebrews 4:16, like, approach the throne with boldness. So it's like understanding these things and understanding the way that the enemy tries to distract you from praying, it's that book, that's a recommendation for anybody out there that's looking for something to read. That's good. And that's going to help you in your spiritual walk. Definitely Screw Tape Letters by C.S. Lewis. So that's the big three, just three, random questions, just to kind of get the ball rolling a little bit. So you want to kind of take us back a little bit of your testimony, how you got into music, because you haven't been doing music real long, have you?
No, it's been like maybe a year and a half, for real.
Okay, yeah.
So, long story short, I was born in Detroit, raised by both my parents. They were pastors. So growing up in the church is always a thing in itself, because, the pastor's kids are always the worst, because we were the ones that, you know what I'm saying? We were the ones that were, had to be in church all the time. But as a child, I wasn't a bad kid. Like, I always loved going to church. My favorite movies was anything that had to do with Jesus. And like, literally, like, I was like a very, very good kid. And I preached my first sermon at like 11 or 12, something like that. It was mad young, So I always loved God, and I always knew that I was going to be involved in something in ministry. But as I got older, I started playing basketball, and I was a Midwest All-American, went to college for it. And I was nice. I was him, like, for real. But I got into basketball, and then with the politics in basketball, what comes with that, being a star athlete. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of different temptations. So the older I got, the more I kind of swayed a little bit from not necessarily my belief system or my core values, because I always believed in certain things and certain stuff I just wouldn't do. But I definitely teeter-tottered, and I played with some stuff, and then after that, I ended up getting pretty much kicked out of college my sophomore year, halfway through my sophomore year, for pretty much just not taking it serious. I was dabbling in selling drugs. I was smoking. I was doing some of everything, partying all the time. And once I got kicked out, my parents pretty much told me, like, okay, if you're going to come back here, we got a family business. You're going to be working with us. So I'm like, okay, cool. Like, that's fine. So I started working with my parents, and that was going good for a minute, but I still wasn't reverencing God. I was still wilding, doing what I wanted. And long story short, I was about to go out with my cousin at the time, and he was like, yo, let's go to the club, X, Y, and Z. And I was fully game, but something just kept telling me, like, don't go tonight. Just go back to the hotel. Don't go. So I ended up going back to the hotel, and he was mad at me, the whole nine. But I ended up going to sleep. I get a call at like 4 a.m. from my mother, and she like screaming, yelling, like belligerent on the phone. She's like, "Where are you?" X, Y, and Z. I'm like, "Yo, I'm at the hotel. What's going on?" And she pretty much told me, like, "Hey, your cousin was gunned down, execution style." Yeah. So it was like, that was kind of a moment for me to kind of like realize, like, okay, I could have been there. Like, I should have been there. You know what I'm saying? But it was like, okay, even in my mess, like, God is still covering me. Yeah. So at the day of his funeral, we ended up going out as like some of me and my cousins. We ended up going out and went to the club that night. Long story short, a bunch of stuff ended up popping off, ended up getting arrested. And the cop, I'll never forget it, the cop was like looking at me. He was just like, "It's something about you. Like, you shouldn't be here. You know what I'm saying? Like out of everybody in the situation, it was like, you shouldn't be here. Like, it's something about you. So he let me go. He was like, I don't even feel like doing the paperwork. Like, yeah. And this could have went real bad. But he was like, I don't even feel like doing the paperwork. You don't even seem like you should be here. Like, if I see you again, it's over with. But he was like, go ahead, do your thing, change your life. So after that, I did. I just changed my life. I gave my life over to Christ at 19. No, 19. And I ended up becoming a youth pastor for around 2 to 3 years, and then just fell into music on mistake. Like, music just happened by mistake. Like, I never even thought I could be a rapper. It just kind of happened.
That's crazy.
Oh.
Yeah, that's crazy. And it's funny that you said that, because I put a video on my Instagram a couple weeks ago where it's like, and I was driving down the road and it was early in the morning, and I seen a telephone pole laying on its side. And from down the street where I looked, I was like, what's the deal with that light? Like, that light looks weird. And I thought it was like one of those construction lights, you see them when they're working on the side of the highway and stuff. And so as I got closer to it, I said, oh no, that's a telephone pole that fell down, like the light, but the light was still lit. And I was like, oh, that's powerful, because it's like, even when we fall, when we're connected to that power source, even when we're knocked down, even when they're in those moments where we don't feel like we can do anything for him, or we're not worthy, we're still down, that light is still shining, and the world can see that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's a powerful testimony, man. It's crazy, what the Lord, allows to happen to you and what he pulls out.
Yeah.
So so you said you fell into music. How did that come about?
Yeah. So one of the guys that I used to go to high school with, I had moved out of my parents' house, and and I was just kind of sitting with my own thoughts, and it felt like I was literally about to lose my mind, because I've always been a thinker. So I was just by myself, literally just sitting at home, just staring at these walls, like, man, I got to do something. I got to get these thoughts out. And I had called my mom, actually, and she's telling me, like, you got to start writing. But she didn't mean raps. Like, she just meant writing stuff down.
Journaling. Yeah,
journaling. So in my head, I'm like, I'm like, bro, I ain't about to be having a diary. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right. Yep.
I'm like, bro, I ain't about to be walking around with no diary. So I'm laughing it off. And like I think it was like a week later, one of the guys I went to school with, he just called me. He was like, because my 22nd, I think my 22nd birthday was coming up. And he was like, hey, bro, like, I know you always said you wanted to shoot a music video, like, you want to do a song one day, like, even if it's just for fun, bro, just do it. Like, you know what I'm saying? You got the voice for it, all that. So I'm like, all right, whatever. So, and he's a Christian artist as well. So I was like, you know what, cool. I could, I'm a youth pastor at this point. This would be something cool. Maybe I could show the kids, just, whatever. So I ended up doing it, and the song was not good. Like, if I was to show you right now, we would laugh. But it happened. You know what I'm saying? So I'm showing, like, some of the homies that I was with, and they like, bro, you low-key can rap a little bit. Like, you can rap. So I'm laughing, but then I showed my parents, like, I made like 2 more songs that kind of told my testimony. And I remember sending them to my parents, and they both called me like, no, that's what it was. I shot a video to the second song I made, and they seen it. They called me like, Kai, I think you really got something with this. Like, you can help change the course of not just Christian music, but music, the way that you're doing this, because you're doing it a different way. So I'm listening. I'm like, okay, maybe. And this is a first for me, because I tried to rap when I was 12. When my parents heard my first song, they was like, ain't no way. Like, you
not give this up.
You know what I'm saying? So when they heard and I heard their perspective change, I was like, okay, if my parents is saying this and my homies is saying this, like, and I'm falling in love with this. This is something I can see myself doing every day. I'm like, man, okay, cool. Like, let's get it done. And that's how it happened. Literally, it was by mistake. Like, it was never planned out. Like, oh, I'm gonna be a rapper. I'm gonna be with Lecrae. And then, no, it just happened. It just happened.
Yeah, that's what is it with basketball and rap? They just go hand in hand.
They do.
Yeah. I've always been a big fan of rap ever since I was younger, and I always played basketball. And I'm like, I don't know, how tall are you?
6'3".
6'3". Okay, so we're close to the same height. I used to play a little ball back then. I didn't play college, but I was a All-American, NACA All-American. But yeah, I've had a couple guys on here, and it seems like Zonti said he can hoop a little bit.
He can.
Paris Cariz, he said he can play a little bit, which he played college ball too.
Yeah. I still gotta play Paris, but like me and Zonti, we went at it a couple times in Atlanta. I ain't gonna lie, like it got chippy because me and him both like real competitive. So we get to talking, you know what I'm saying? But no, I'm gonna be honest. It's crazy too. My freshman year of college when I was hooping at Spring Arbor University. Lecrae came. That was one of the ways that they got me to come to Spring Arbor. They were like, "Yo, we want to, bring you to a concert. Lecrae is coming into town. Like, you come up here, bring some of your friends, X, Y, and Z. We're gonna see if we can hoop with them." He came, and I was so upset because our school president at the time, like, took him on a tour of, like, around the school and around the city, so he couldn't get back to hoop with us. And I was so mad because, like, I'm not going to say the name of the city, but where that place is, it's not really tour worthy for real. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you live in Atlanta. It's like, that's not a place that you go to. You know what I'm saying? So I was
yeah.
It's definitely a full circle moment because me and Craig going to run the ones one day for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, Hovey said that Torrey Deshawn's the best CHH hooper.
Really? Oh, that's crazy.
That's what he told me.
That's crazy.
That's what he told me.
Yeah, I got to come.
Yeah, I said. Yeah, there's it seems like there's a lot of CHH guys that either played college basketball or like played, throughout high school and all that. And so, so I didn't know you were into hoops. So what? Let's do this real quick. Who's your favorite Detroit Pistons? Are you a Pistons fan?
Oh yeah.
Who's your favorite?
I would say this. The new Pistons, I can't get with them. I'm not that Detroit. I'm not that Detroit. I can't go. Like any other sports team, any other sports team, I will support the Lions before I support the Pistons. I'm gonna be honest. But
that's saying something.
Yeah, but no, like back in the day, I would say like 03, 04, major Pistons fan. Actually, I would say Ben Wallace would definitely my favorite Piston. But I don't. Matter of fact, I scratched that. Isaiah Thomas is my favorite Piston of all time, like all time. But shout out to Jerry Stackhouse, and I'm gonna say this real quick, and we can move on. But because me and my parents were talking about something funny the other day. When I was younger, I used to want a Ben Wallace jersey like real bad, and this was obviously before I could read for real. So my parents, they couldn't find a Wallace jersey, I guess. So I don't know where they got this jersey from. They got a Jerry Stackhouse jersey and gave me the jersey and passed it off like it was a Wallace jersey. So my older brother walk around the house and he'd be playing with me. He had this little inside joke, whenever you see me, he'd just be like, Stackhouse. And I never knew what that meant. You know what I'm saying? So I got older. But that's crazy, man. Yeah, that's a little funny story.
What did you say? You were 12 or 13? Is that what you said?
No.
No, but that Detroit team 03, 04, that finals where they played the Spurs, that's the same time when 03, 04, 05, something like that.
Yep.
That was one of the best finals that I remember with Ben Wallace, Rasheed Wallace, Tayshaun Prince, Richard Hamilton. Yeah, and then you had the Spurs, Ginobili, Parker, and all them. Yeah, that was one of my favorite series. I remember, there's very few moments in your life where you can think exactly back to that moment, like every detail.
Yep.
That was one of those series for me. I remember watching those games like it was yesterday. So to get back into the music a little bit more about you. So what impact are you trying to make through the music? Like I said, and you mentioned it a minute ago, the way that you're doing it is different. The way that you're doing it is not like the status quo in terms of not just Christian, but secular music as well. Yeah. So what's your goal throughout?
I would definitely start by just saying anytime I can glorify God in any way, that's just number one, is pushing the gospel and pushing his mission. But even not beyond that, but besides that, I would say helping out the kids that grew up like me. What I mean by that is kids who didn't really resonate with Christian rap growing up, because I'm going to be honest, growing up, I listened to Christian rap because I had, you know what I'm saying?
For the longest.
Yeah, so it was I would listen to it if I was around my parents because I had to, but I'm sneaking off listening to around that time Lil Wayne, Chief Keef, you know what I'm saying? All those people that's popping off. So
the Joker.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it's just I'm sneaking off doing my thing, but I growing up, it was just me and the homies couldn't resonate with Christian rap. It was corny to us. We laughed at it all. You know what I'm saying? So now I want to be the person to these kids that are in these different situations, whether you in the hood, whether you in the suburbs, it don't matter. I want to show them you can still look like this and still love God. You can have the tattoos. Okay, cool. If you like jewelry, there's nothing wrong with that. Rock your jewelry, but keep God at the forefront. So it's like I said, helping those kids. Most definitely. And then, like I said, I never understood why, and I've said this on Track Stars, I never understood why people would get mad at me for doing what I'm doing when we supposed to be like Jesus and we say we being like Jesus, but Jesus didn't come to preach to the Pharisees. he came to preach to the tax collectors, to the prostitutes, to the liars. Like, these are the people that he was reaching. So it's I never understood that. So yeah, that's always been my goal, is just to reach the unreachable and to reach the lost and to help out the younger generation that grew up like me.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. I had, I see the way some of the younger guys are coming up, like you, Zonti, Miles Minnick, Holvey, these type dudes. And it seems like, cause I know for a while when there was like a stigma to the whole Christian rap, like you said, it was corny, but not just that. Like if you asked like a Christian artist if they were a Christian rapper, well, I'm not, I'm a rapper and I'm a Christian, so it was like they're staying away from it. But I'm seeing guys like you guys coming up that they're bold about it. They're not afraid to say, yeah, I'm a Christian rapper, but I'm for everybody, and that's the thing that kills me too about the church. And I wanted to touch on that. It's just like, why does the church feel like anything that you do is supposed to just be for the church? Like we're just supposed to have a pep rally for each other.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like we're just supposed to do stuff inside the four walls. We just need to stay in here, stay in our little bubble, stay in our box. Yep. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, the harvest truly is plenteous, but the laborers are few. Yep. So it's like Jesus told us to go out and be that light. So what kind of, like, I know you kind of touched on it a little bit, but like what is like the most pushback you're getting like from the church? They're just saying that like the aggressiveness, the way you rap, or the way.
Yeah, it's some all that. It's the image, because I'm gonna just be honest, bro. I'm from Detroit, so like Detroit, not even Detroit rappers, Detroit civilians are just known for like being flashy, like loving jewelry. We're a hustler city, so you know what I'm saying. So, we known for having jewelry and nice cars, things like that. And it's only a bad thing when the way that you getting it is illegal. That's how I put it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for me, it's like the image, like, because I'm gonna be honest, most Christian rappers, you don't see a lot of Christian rappers with a lot of jewelry, with a real nice car, or even flaunting that. Even if they do, you don't see it. You know what I'm saying? They try to be minimalist, which is, for me, it's like, okay, that's cool for y'all, but I'm not about to act like this ain't who I am. You know what I'm saying? With the braids, the tattoos and all that. So it's definitely the image. That's number one. But when people get to hear my heart behind why I do what I do, it's kind of, it shifts their perspective. But it's the image. And then too, when it comes to sonically, the actual music, people are afraid to associate drill with anything Christian, because obviously we know where drill came from. Like we just talked about Chief Keef. That's kind of like the father of drill music, and we know what that represents. But for me, it's like, okay, if the enemy wants to use this for his kingdom, why can't I take that and flip that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Why can't I go get that audience with the same sound, but it's a way better message? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it just be the sound, man. Because when people get to know me, they see like, okay, like you ain't what I thought you was. You know what I'm saying? So it's always been the how I may present myself as far as the look, and sonically just how the music sounds.
Yeah, I think too it's biblical to do that. Like if you look in, I can't remember where it is off the top of my head. It's in the book of Luke, where the tax collector and the Roman guard came up to John and they're like, hey, do we need to quit our job? And basically he told them, no, just go back and be a good tax collector, go back and be a good Roman, soldier. So he's telling them like, redeem the profession. Yep. So it's like, because somebody said something to me a while back, because I try to post a Bible verse every day on my Instagram, and I put I don't even remember the song, but it was just the instrumental to a secular rap song. Yeah. And somebody messaged me and they're like, hey, not a lot of people would do something like that. And I'm like, I feel like that's biblical, you know, because you never know who that's going to reach. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah. And I remember even being a youth pastor, we would do that all the time. I would get flack for it, but it is what it is. I mean, because I've heard some crazy stuff. Like if you go through and look at my TikTok comments, bro, it's crazy. So, but like, as a youth pastor, I would do the same thing. So like when we would do our recaps of my sermon that I just did, I would edit it and put like whatever the most popping rap song was instrumental behind it, because I learned that like a lot of times on Instagram, it might hit the explore page. So when you scrolling and then you hear Drake or Lil Baby or whatever, it's like, okay, man, what is this? Hold on. And then you'll stay for a minute and you might just stay long enough to hear me hit you in your spirit with something that you needed. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's how it is, man. That's why like I said, a lot of the love that I got, especially early on with my music, was from the secular world, secular artists, secular labels, like the whole nine, because it caught their ear, but then they realized like, okay, he actually trying to do something good for this community. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah. Reach the people that a lot of people inside the four walls aren't willing to go out and try to reach for whatever reason. Even to the point where people will say stuff to you about like not even being like you shouldn't even be associated with those type of people.
It's been people, without even going into detail. I was talking to my manager about it the other day. It's like it's been people who have said things publicly about me that we know, like, how do I say this? They ain't perfect either. You know what I'm saying? Right. So it's like, okay, like you mad at my music, but my music is still reaching people though. Like the DMs that I'm getting, bro. Your music changed my life. Your music made me want to stop selling drugs. Your music make me want to switch from secular music to Christian music, and all this. So it's like, okay, if I'm reaching people, why are you upset at this? But you got stuff going on in your real life that's not fruitful. You know what I'm saying? That if the fans could see that. So it's like it's crazy, man. And like I said, nobody's perfect. So even for me, that's why I don't judge nobody. Even the people that I do know that may come short in X, Y, and Z. It's like, bro, that's between you and God. That ain't none of my business. Like, I can pray for you, and if you want to come to me for help in X, Y, and Z, then that's different. But what do I look like finding out some stuff about X, Y, and Z, this person, and now I'm holding something in my heart like, oh, they don't deserve to be a Christian rapper. Or they don't deserve their platform because you don't know what they got going on. You don't know what pushed them to that limit. That you don't even understand their relationship with God. So, yeah, I just never understood that, man. Never understood.
Yeah, and everybody has a different calling.
Exactly.
Not everybody can handle something that the next person can handle. And, at the end of the day, too, when you talk about like knowing things that somebody else is struggling with and things like that, like none of us are walking 100% perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Even when you think that you're doing everything right, like we still have that fallen nature that it's like, and I pray that all the time. I'm like, Lord, if there's something that I'm doing in my life that I shouldn't be doing, like reveal it to me, because you can think you're doing something right. And then, you're doing something completely wrong. So it's just, there's so much of that. Do you think it's a when it comes to like rap and stuff like that, do you think that's like an insecurity type thing?
Yeah, most definitely, because it's like it's almost, because the same thing happens in the church. It's like you want to make yourself feel as if you're better. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
Especially in the music industry, like I've seen it where people trying to come to me with like, oh man, did you hear such and such just did blah blah blah. It's like, bro, I don't care. Like, I really don't. But it's like you can tell mentally, it's like they want to feel as if, oh, I'm the right Christian rapper. Like I'm doing this the right way. Like, bro, there is no one way to do this, bro. Like, just like it's not one way to preach. Like, people will. I see videos about Michael Todd and all these different new age pastors. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, oh, well, he's not doing it the right way. Well, guess what, bro? He's reaching millions of people. How many people did you reach in the last week? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, cool. He may not be doing everything right, but he's called to a certain group of people, and he's still doing, no matter how y'all want to put it, he's still doing the Lord's work. So yeah, man, it's definitely an insecurity thing though, trying to make it, because it's just a thing of trying to make yourself feel like you're better.
That's why I don't go into like what denomination I am, because I feel like when you go into things like that and you put these labels on it, somebody listening to this, they're like, well, I'm a better Christian than him because he's this and I'm that.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are we doing? All that does at the end of the day is just push people away and turn them off from Jesus.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah. And two, like when you talk about tattoos and stuff like that, and you talk about letting your light shine, like I have tattoos. All my tattoos are either biblical or like family related or whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember me and my son, we went to eat breakfast a couple weekends ago, and I usually just wear a t-shirt and basketball shorts anywhere I go. And I had, he was wearing the same thing. And we went into this place to eat breakfast, and the woman said, you look familiar to me. And I said, I don't know. I'm not sure. She said, where do you go to church at? And I'm thinking, and I told my wife, and I'm like, why would she even think that I go to church? I don't have anything on that says anything about Jesus. Yep. You know what I'm saying? I don't have anything at all. I didn't say anything about church. I didn't say anything about God, but it's just like people can tell, especially nowadays, the line is so like obvious. And now I got somebody honking in the background, but like the line is so obvious now that like it's so clear what side you're on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's just when you have that light of Jesus inside your heart and you're like living it out, it's going to be evident to people. It doesn't matter what you wear or what you look like. and especially like I wanted to ask you too, with the way that you rap, the way that you clearly are going for the devil's head, like what kind of like toll does that take on you physically in terms of like spiritual warfare and stuff?
Oh man, that's a great question. I've never been asked that before, but I'm glad that you did because people don't understand, bro. Like I was just telling somebody the other day, I was like, bro, you got to understand how hard I work. And I'm not a cocky person whatsoever. Honestly, I downplay myself too much to where I was undercharging, all that. So me and this promoter for this show was just having an honest conversation. And I was like, bro, you got to understand how hard I work at what I do. Not only because I'm in the studio all the time, but also because of the type of artist I am, because of the backlash that I got to go through with the church and from the street, because sometimes I'm not hood enough for them. I'm not churchy enough for church. So it's like, bro, I'm going through a lot. But then, like I said, on top of that, it's like the warfare side of everything. It's like my mom told me one day, she was like, okay, Kai, like, I love your music. You're doing your thing. But you got to realize you are literally calling yourself the demon killer. Like you're calling yourself the devil's biggest op. You know what that means. Like he's gonna continue to come for your head. And I started to see it crazy, bro. Like doing music is the most roller coaster of emotions I've ever had in my life. I've never wanted to quit something so much and then jump back into it. I've never, you know what I'm saying? I've never dealt with depression this heavy, anxiety, and obviously God has freed me from these things. Now, you know, I'm taking the necessary steps to keep my mental health right. But early in my career, that was the most stressed I've ever been in my life. Like it was constantly like, so soon something good would happen, the enemy would come out of nowhere, like try to just smack me in my face. So it's like, okay, cool. Like, and then like I said, I had to realize it's like, all right, bet I'm literally taking this dramatic stand against him. He has to kind of respond. So that's why I said now I just make sure I take the necessary steps on making sure if I'm going to continue, which I am, since this is my brand, this is what I'm going to do. I just have to take the necessary steps to make sure that I have the right defense, you know, set up. And that just includes, number one, keeping that constant open relationship with God. Just making sure that you're hearing from him, you know, he's hearing from you, vice versa. Like you're talking to him, you're listening. And then also to the people that you keep around you, like my parents promise. Mm-hmm. Like my parents are there to help me mentally whenever I need them, to talk to them, to talk business, whatever it may be. They got me covered. Project, my main producer, I can sit with him and talk to him about the music side of things. And even the friendships that I'm gaining in the music industry with Zanti, Paris, Hovey, Big Breeze, Portia Love, people like this, like it's a community of people who I know like genuinely got my best interests at heart. So when I am going through these things, I can step away for a minute and just be like, bro, I just need to talk to somebody.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one of the biggest tools that I've seen. Cause I've been doing this podcast a little over a year now. And like, I had somebody ask me a while back, I was on somebody else's podcast and they asked me what my ultimate goal was for this. And I said, you know, I'm a truck driver from Soddy Daisy, Tennessee. Nobody knows anything about Soddy Daisy, Tennessee. Yeah. I said, God has called me to do this because he's going to show the world that people like, he still uses fishermen today, just like he used in the Bible. Like I've said before, and I'm going to say it right now, this is going to be the number one Christian podcast in the world. Like, I don't care who's out there. There's a million people that are better than this at me. I'm not saying I'm the best in the world, but I just know that the Lord wouldn't have asked me to step as far out of my comfort zone and to the doors that he's opened for me. I know it's not going to stop because I've seen what he's done yesterday. Why would he stop tomorrow? He's not called me to do this for it to be something small. So like, I'm with you as far as like the spiritual, like attacks that the enemy tries to come at you. It's real. And so like, I want to say right now to whoever's listening to this right now, like say a prayer for this dude. If you ever think about it, because like that is the number one tool against the enemy. But, I had Zonti on last year, you know, I said that earlier, and he was telling me a story about, I guess it was the first time y'all met. Yeah. He was in the studio and Project brought you in. Yeah. So I kind of wanted to hear like your side of the story as far as how that went.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. We actually just talked about that last weekend in Atlanta. When I brought him on stage with me, it was a crazy full circle moment. But I want to say this was like a year ago, so it was really only a couple months into me rapping. And Project had found out about me when I dropped my first ever mixtape, like in this.
Because he's from Detroit too, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and it was just, and the mixtape was garbage, but Project found out about me And again, you can hear potential. So, and Project has a crazy ear for music. So he had DM me. And I'm like, bro, who is this kid? And then like I go to his page, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, bro, like what's going? Because I had just started rapping. I had no music connections, no nothing. I'm just doing it because I like it. And Project reached out and was like, bro, I'm gonna be honest, this is the best project that I've heard. Like this, like the best something I've heard in X amount of years. So I'm like, bro, who is like, why? You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you playing on my phone? So I just, looked at it, was like, oh, appreciate you, fam. Then I looked at his producer credits. Like, it's a lot of Detroit artists that are popping around here that he didn't work with. So I'm like, he kind of in the mix. So
somebody, yeah.
Yeah, so we end up getting, we started talking, and we just kind of had like a text relationship at the time where like I just text him, he'd text me, whatever. But we didn't talk a lot. So, and Project don't talk a lot in general. So I was sitting at home one day and a radio station had called me for an interview or whatever, but I see Project FaceTiming me. So I'm like, Project don't ever talk or call me. So this got to be important. So I'm like, so I hang up on the radio station. I'm like, yo, I got to hit y'all back. We can discuss business later, but like this got to be important. I pick up the phone. I see him in the studio, and I don't even see Zonti at this time. Like I just see him in the studio at this studio called Mix Factory in Detroit. So I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Like, what you working on? He like, bro, Zonti in the studio. He wants you to come down. Like, this is rare. Like, he wants you to get on this song, bro. We need you to get on this song. So I'm like, bro, okay, of course. So I'm like, man. So I hang up the phone, hop right in the car, head straight there. Whatever I had on, I don't even remember. I just threw something on. So I get to the studio, and I see this white dude with all these tattoos and his jersey on. So I'm like, because mind you, I had heard the name Zonti and I've heard his music, but I've never seen him. So,
okay.
So I'm looking, I'm like, who is this dude? Like, so we get to talking, and he's mad cool. You feel me? So like, I'm like, yo, like I could see myself, working with Dog, but I was just kind of sitting there, just kind of in the moment. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because at the time, I'm not DKG Kie yet. At the time, I still had a different name. I was just Kie at the time. So I'm like, bro, I hadn't even hit like 100,000 streams. So I'm like, bro, what am I doing here? It was almost like imposter syndrome. I'm like, why am I in here? So he played the beat as soon as I got in the door. And he was like, bro, I heard your stuff. Mind you, I only had one tape out at the time. He was like, bro, I heard your stuff. Like, I really like it. I want to see what you can do on this beat. So I'm like, all right, bet. So he played the God My Steps beat, and he played his verse. And I'm like, okay, this hard. So I heard how he was going with it, and I instantly just started writing. So 5 minutes later, I looked at him. I'm like, bro, my verse done. I'm ready. So he's like, what? I'm like, yeah. So he threw me in the booth, bro. I'll never forget. I was so nervous. I couldn't come in like on the right part. I kept missing the beat. And he just like, he clicked the little monitor button. And he told me, he like, bro, just calm down. Like, we good. We're gonna knock this out. So I'm like, all right, cool. Finally got a hold. As soon as I caught the beat, it was over from there. Like I just snapped. And then after that, I come out the booth. They going crazy. They like, yo, this is wild. Da, da, da. So he was like, bro, you know what? Let's add another part. Let's go back and forth at the end of the song. So I'm like, oh, bet. Like, you understand Detroit music. That's how we do this. So I'm like, all right, bet. So we go back and forth. After that, bro, I lied out to you. We got done with the song. And he like, bro, this going on my album. I'm thinking he lying. I'm like, bro, okay. Like, you ain't got to, you know what I'm saying? You ain't got to do that to me. You don't have to. Yeah. So he like, no, bro, like, this is really going on my album. And we sat in the studio for probably 4 hours after that. Did not play another song. Didn't record nothing else. We just talked and prayed. And really had a moment. And after that, he was like, bro, I want to bring you to Nashville and we can talk about some stuff on how you can, start branding yourself and getting yourself out there more. Because at the time, bro, I probably had like 100 monthly listeners. And yeah, I went to Nashville, bro, and me and him chopped it up. He showed me how to do branding and, what a brand kit was. He taught me how to like get on TikTok for real. And after that, bro, my career just has been moving. So yeah, that's my brother, man. Through thick and thin, hell and high water. That's my dog for real.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I love that story. I asked him a crazy story and make an album, and that was the one that he had told me. But yeah, it was. Yeah, it's cool the way that God opens doors like that. Like especially when you're least expecting it. Like right now, like as I'm hearing you talking, like I'm saying. Like I said earlier, like I've been following you for about a year, and the way that the Lord has opened doors for me, like I never planned on starting a podcast, and then He's opened the door for me to have like you, Zonti, Hovey, Paris, all these different people on there, and I'm like, I just sit back sometimes. I'm like, dang, like all it takes is one yes. Like, yes, Lord, I'm willing to do it.
Yep.
And then he's like, all right, if you're willing to do it, let's go. It's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
I did want to say too, my shout out to my guy Chris. His name's LeBeau Godbody. He's a producer. He's from Detroit.
Okay.
And so he was pumped whenever I told him you were coming on, because he's a fan of yours too. And I said, well, I'm gonna give you a shout out. So I said, yeah, y'all need to connect sometime, because he produces. If you're looking to connect with somebody, he's got some crazy stuff. I use most of his music for like the videos that I post on Instagram and stuff like that.
Okay.
But
just send me his info for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I got you. But yeah, my son, he's a big fan of what is it? All the Small Things.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Anytime we get in the car, he's 4 years old.
Oh, that's
and he's a big fan of rap music.
Yeah.
And so once he hears a song, he always says the same thing. If he likes it, he'll say, "What is this music?"
Yeah.
So if he says, "What is this music?" he's down with it. And as soon as he heard that, now anytime we get in the car, he wants to play it.
That's
so. So as a father, I appreciate what you're doing as well.
Most definitely.
But you got any final words of encouragement before we get off here?
Yeah, I just want to tell everybody, man, at the end of the day, no matter what it is that you're trying to do, if God is leading you, I'll say that if God is leading you to do something, even if it doesn't look like the norm, but it's glorifying God, no matter what anybody else has to say, if you feel in your spirit and you know for a fact that God is leading you to do something, just go do it. That's it. Like, it's that simple. Just go do it. Like, do it scared, because like I said, a lot of times for me, it was the same thing, man. It was this thought of like, how could this happen? How can I be one of the first Christian rappers to rap like this, if not the first, and make it? It's not possible, because I don't see a blueprint, but it's like, I had to do it scared. And if I would have never did it, if I would have just sat there and just be like, you know what, I'm not going to do it because I don't see a way of it working, I wouldn't be here right now whatsoever. So no, just do it scared. And then the second thing, that's the most important thing, is no matter where you are in your life right now, if you have felt like that you floated or distanced yourself from God, and you feel as if he doesn't want you anymore, he doesn't want to hear from you anymore, run back to him. Run back to him. Because he will meet you where you are, like right where you are. A lot of people feel like they have to go to church, and I'm not going to turn this to a sermon, but a lot of people feel like they have to go to church when they're ready or when they're clean. That's not the case. Just go to God right now. I don't care if you're smoking weed right now. I don't care if you got a bottle next to you right now, or if you just had sex last night, whatever it may have been, wherever you are in your walk, just come back to God right now. I guarantee you, he still loves you. He still wants to hear from you, and he still wants to help you out and keep you covered. So yeah, that's that,
man. Yeah, that's good. That's good. And as a father, I could say that too, because like I never really understood the true love of God until I had kids.
Yeah.
Because I look at how much I love my kids and how much I would do anything for them. And then like God hit me with that one day, because I was feeling like I wasn't acting the way I was supposed to that day.
Mm-hmm.
And like apologizing to God and stuff like that. Times Satan tries to make you feel like, that's it. You've used up your allotment of apologies. You've used up all the forgiveness that God could possibly give you. Yeah. And then I came out of our room and I was praying, and my son came up running up and was hugging me. And it hit me right then. God hit me with that. It's like, think about how much you love your son, and you're fallen, you know what I'm saying? And I'm perfect. So just think about how much more I love you, that perfect love that I have for you.
Yep.
And it's just a beautiful thing. So yeah, I just want to echo that. Just anything that you feel like you're struggling, just take it to Jesus, man. He's never going to push you away. He's never going to turn you away. He loves you just like, Father loves a son, but perfectly,
yep.
Loves his children. So yeah. So you want to tell the people where to find you at?
Yeah, you can hit my Instagram at DKG Kie, and my TikTok, if you just search DKG Kie, I'm gonna be honest, I forgot that name. I think I changed it from DKG Kie official, but if you just search DKG Kie, you'll be able to find me on TikTok. Same thing with YouTube. Let's get the YouTube subscribers up. We finally hit like 3.5K, something like that, and I really don't on there. So yeah, we trying to get them subscribers up so we can keep the vlogs and everything going. So yeah, that's where you guys can find me at for sure.
Yeah. I'll put all that in the show notes as well, so you guys can just go down there and click the links, go check out his music, go follow him on Instagram and all that good stuff. So you got anything in the works here in the that you can talk about or no?
Yeah, let me see. What can I talk about? The Reach situation I know a lot of people seeing that on Instagram, so they know I'm working with Reach, but I can't get into what it is yet. But it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
But besides that, me and Paris, we got 2 songs. We're trying to figure out when we gonna drop those. Me and Breeze just knocked out 3 in one day. No, matter of fact, 3 in 4 hours. So we working on that. Me and Portia Love, we about to get one done tonight or tomorrow actually, and me and Hovey. So we just we trying to figure out, the drop schedule.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
This summer.
Exciting.
Yeah, this summer about to be crazy. Like, this summer
That's
about
awesome.
For sure. Most definitely.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to hear those. Yeah, Paris is one of my favorites for real. He's not from Tulsa. Is he from Tulsa?
No, he's from Detroit.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he was telling me a story because he played basketball about how in middle school or high school or something he's trying to shoot free throws and a rat had run across the gym base. Yeah. Shout out to Paris.
Yeah, that's
but thank you again so much for coming and spending some time with me today. This has been awesome, and I just appreciate it. And like I said, if you guys would say a word of prayer for this man, So thank you guys for listening. Go give Kie a follow. Go listen to his music, and God bless you guys. Remember, we're all called to act, so let's get after it.
All right.
Sing.